Hello everyone, how are you doing? Well, I hope good. I'm good as well. Well, has anyone ever asked you or told you that there is a particular concept in biology that they find very tricky, very difficult, and they almost feel like skipping it because they just could not understand, right? Well, for the good news, I'm going to take one of those topics today, and that is mechanism of breathing. Before even describing that, I must tell you that most of the students, they end up writing about the pathway of air in the respiratory tract. And that is why they score 0 marks, because that is not what is being asked or required to write, right? Well, after watching this video, I will ensure that you'll not be writing that. Instead, inhalation and exhalation, because mechanism of breathing involves the series of events that cause inhalation and exhalation. But before even starting the concept, let us deal with the labeling, right? It is diaphragm. Can you see over here, diaphragm? Now this diaphragm, like I told you in the previous video, is a dome-shaped muscular sheath that separates the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity. Now the thoracic cavity will include structures of the parts like lungs and different structures. Then you have ribs. Alright, now lungs are very important because they are the main respiratory organs, so they require protection, right? So these ribs are the bony structures that surrounds and protects the lungs. Next we have intercostal muscles. My God, another big term in biology, big word in biology. I know it scares many of the students, and most of the students, they develop this fear that they don't feel like studying biology. Well, today I'm going to simplify it. So whenever you come across a big word, have you ever wondered what a big word is made up of? It always consists of a root word, the main word, or it has a prefix in front of it or a suffix, after it, right? So if you're talking about intercostal, it consists of the prefix inter, which means between. Ever heard of, inter-house or inter-school competitions? Inter-house competition means a competition between different houses. Inter-school competition means a competition between different schools. So inter means between. As a prefix, it means between. Likewise, in intercostal also, it means between, right? The meanings never change. That's the best part about it. Costal is derived from the Latin word costa, which means rib. Now let's understand what's the meaning of intercostal muscles, right? Now it's simple. So intercostal muscles are the muscles that are present between the ribs, or that bridges or links the ribs, right? Next we have another term, intrapulmonary. Well, just like inter as a prefix, we have another prefix over here, that is intra. Intra as a prefix means within, right? And pulmonary, what is pulmonary? Well, this word is derived from Latin word pulmon, which means lung. And pulmonary is anything that is pertaining to the lungs. So whenever I'm going to use the word intrapulmonary, it means I'm talking about inside the lungs. So if it is intrapulmonary volume, that means the volume inside the lungs. If it is intrapulmonary pressure, that means the pressure inside the lungs, right? I hope you have understood the labeling, so let's get started, right? First, we'll start with inhalation. So let's get started with diaphragm only. So this diaphragm, which is usually arch-shaped or dome-shaped, it will start contracting. That means it will start moving down. And at the same time, these intercostal muscles which are present between the ribs, they will also contract. So the diaphragm and the intercostal muscles contract. And what about ribs? The ribs will move upward and outward. Can you see the arrows? Upward and outward. And all of these changes causes increase in the volume of the thoracic cavity, right? Now, because the lungs are also present in the thoracic cavity, so the volume inside the lungs would also increase, or we can say intrapulmonary volume increases, and that will lead to decrease in the pressure inside the lungs, or we can say intrapulmonary pressure decreases. Now, air always moves from higher pressure to lower pressure. So where is the higher pressure? Obviously not inside the lungs, because intrapulmonary pressure decreases. So the pressure inside the lungs is less, and that makes the outer atmospheric air, which is relatively at greater pressure, it will enter the lungs, or it will rush inside the lungs, right? And that's a complete inhalation. Now let's move to exhalation. Again, we'll start with diaphragm. So this diaphragm, it will relax, or it will move back, return back to its original position. Yeah, dome-shaped and arch-shaped. And intercostal muscles will also relax. So the diaphragm and intercostal muscles will relax. What about ribs? The ribs will move downward and inward. Can you see the arrows? You know, downward and inward. And all of these changes, these events will cause decrease in the volume of the thoracic cavity. Now, because the lungs are also present in the thoracic cavity, the intrapulmonary volume decreases. That means the volume inside the lungs will decrease. And as a result of that, the intrapulmonary pressure increases. So when the volume inside the lungs is decreased, the pressure inside the lungs would increase. And that makes the air which is present inside the lungs at greater pressure will move out. So the air is expelled from the lungs into the atmosphere. Well, is it still difficult? I hope not. Well, that is not the end of the session today. I have some of the very interesting facts for you. Have you ever wondered that, we don't have to think about breathing because there is a center, respiratory center in the medulla oblongata, which is almost present in the brainstem, somewhere over here, that triggers us to inhale. Then next is, we are more likely to inhale because of the higher carbon dioxide levels in the blood and not the lower oxygen levels. Well, I used to think just the vice versa. So I was surprised upon finding this, just like many of the people, right? That the deciding factor is the high carbon dioxide levels and not the lower oxygen levels. Adults breathe about 12 to 15 times per minute, and you will be completely astonished that the newborns, my God, they breathe about 30 to 60 times per minute. So newborns, my God, hats off to you. Like, as usual, I always keep the most interesting fact, almost my favorite fact, in the end. Well, here it comes. Have you ever wondered why do we yawn? Well, whenever our brain senses there's a shortage of oxygen and it's not working properly, because just like any other organ, it requires oxygen. It triggers us to take a long deep breath or to yawn. So next time when someone scolds you or tells you not to yawn, you tell that person that, excuse me, I'm just helping, to provide more oxygen to my brain or lungs to my body. Do you want me to collapse? Well, don't scare that person, just be gentle. And if it's a teacher, not even think about it. Well, yeah, that's coming from a teacher. So did you like today's session, or what is it in today's session that you really appreciate and it's worth mentioning in the comment section, or there was an interesting fact that made you awestruck? Anything, please mention it in the comment section. And most importantly, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. And if you think I've done a great job and now you no longer feel mechanism of breathing as tricky or difficult, and you definitely don't feel like skipping it just before the exams, please share it to your friends so that they also no longer feel the same, and they would also share it to different people. And that's how we spread knowledge, and that's how we tell people that biology is one of the interesting subjects, not a dull subject, right? So till then, take very good care of yourselves and your family. Stay happy, healthy, keep smiling, and yeah, stay curious.